The reason everyone needs so much toilet paper is because when one person sneezes, 100 others shit themselves. Hello and welcome to the Toya Talks Podcast. My name is Toya Washington. Thank you so much for clicking and joining me. I want to thank everybody for all their messages, all their retweets of the podcast. Thank you for sharing the podcast. I really wanted to reiterate how much I appreciate how we are sharing and allowing others to learn and grow. Knowledge, it shouldn't be selfish, it should be shared, especially I believe with Black women, we share. We need to share more because we don't do enough of it. And when we share, what we're doing is ensuring that others are equally as informed, so that when you're walking into the workplace, when you're making workplace decisions, everybody is learning and understanding from the same hymn sheet, if that makes sense. Listen, we are in the midst of coronavirus. I've never seen anything like it. And in our generation, to be able to witness what is actually happening is one of those things you tell your grandchildren about. It's a sad fact. It's a sad fact that we have entered a climate whereby coronavirus, as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom have said, people will die. It's a fact. But what is really scary is that we've got people in the workplace who would like us to clap for them because after 20 years, they are learning how to wash their hands. They're washing their hands after using the toilet. They've learnt it today. And then when they're talking about Africa, they will tell you how dirty, smelly, everything. But we don't have as many cases as they have in Europe. In fact, as of today's date, they have more cases of coronavirus in the UK than they do in Africa. And those cases they have in Africa is because people from outside of Africa, because if I say the word foreigner now, people will start arguing with me, have gone into our Africa. Things are so bad now that I have seen that they're offering to pay between £3,500 to £5,000 for people to be infected with this so that they can help our scientists to find an antidote. So what I'm thinking, my conspiracy theory, is that there are people from outside of Africa that are going to Africa because for them, they're perplexed as to why Africans in Africa haven't got more cases. So they want to go and infect them and maybe even give them less money than they've advertised just to find an antidote. We are not an experiment. You are not going to experiment on us. How about that? I think also what I am a bit taken aback about is there are pictures that are coming out of different countries of, people on hospital beds and things like that. But in the UK, we haven't seen anything like that. We haven't seen anybody, any picture, anything. Not like I want to. Please let me. My anxiety levels are on 1,000 because, I have OCD. If you follow me on Snapchat, you would know this. I've been stockpiling. Stockpiling is a way of life. I think when you come from a background where you haven't had everything or anything, and you had, the little you have to hold on to it, then my mum, growing up, she would stockpile on everything. It was just a way of life. So I've always gone to Costco and bought big packs of toilet roll and fairy liquid and whatnot. So all I'm doing now is just topping up. So yes, I did find myself in Costco today, and if you saw the pictures on my Instagram, it was not a joke, okay? People were having trolleys rammed on their ankles, People were screaming. People were running. I mean, I go to Costco so much. I know where everything is, so I knew exactly where I was going. And I thank God for the angel that I met when I was there. A man, he'd come off his late shift and he needed to get a few things from Costco. He didn't have a trolley. So I said, you know what? Let's share a trolley. You be the muscle, I'll do the navigation. And literally worked together as a team, got everything we wanted and came out of Costco. I got to Costco about 20 past 9. It didn't open till 10 o'clock. And the queue, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, they said in Costco that even Christmas has never been so busy. I've also seen on social media the criticism, people stockpiling. What are people supposed to do? However, I will say that for all of those people stockpiling toilet rolls, have you ever given a thought about sanitary towels? But listen, what coronavirus is highlighting from a work perspective is number one, these workplaces that don't trust their employees to be working from home. Well, you don't have choice now. You have to exercise that you're working from home policy by fire, by force. And it's forcing people to actually recognize that not all meetings need to happen face to face. There's something called web chat. There's something called Skype, or whatever it is that they use to instantaneously talk to each other. Like this need to have face-to-face meetings. Listen, do you know in one company, if somebody needs to ask you a question, they will put a meeting in your diary. And they'll even be disrespectful, put their meeting at 9 o'clock. Is everything all right back home? By far, one of the craziest things I've heard was a young lady got in contact with me on my Snapchat. If you're not following me on Snapchat, it's Toya Washington, all one word. And she said to me, Toya, I need a bit of advice. I says, okay, shoot, what is it? She said that when she went into the office, long story short, the managers all had a meeting about the coronavirus. And that was at the very early stages, when they were drip feeding us information about the coronavirus. And basically, after the meeting, the managers didn't say anything to anybody. And then the managers all disappeared. And basically, they were working from home. While the rest of the staff, the more junior members of staff, were still on ground. Then she was saying to me, she doesn't understand. Like, she thought that the workplace would, keep everybody informed and, make everybody a priority. The girl was talking. I said, excuse me, hello, hi. At the point in which the managers are working from home and they're leaving the donkeys in the office to do their job, because let's really be honest, it's the junior people that are actually doing the job. The managers are managing people to do the job. So they're leaving you guys in the office. So they don't care about you lots. Because what they're basically saying is they don't care. They didn't communicate the outcome of that meeting. They didn't give you any summary. They haven't given you no update about how they choose or what their thought process is in relation to responding to coronavirus. They just went home. So what they're basically saying is they don't care about you people. So you guys now have to start caring about yourself. Because if it was me, well, I'm even coming to my own thing in a minute. I said, if it was me, I would send an email and basically put them on blast and say, it has come to my attention that senior management are working from home as a response to the coronavirus. However, the junior members of staff are still in the office. There's been no communication, no update. Can you please, with human resources on copy, advise us about what the junior members of staff should do and why we should be at work, whilst all the senior members of staff are at home as a response to the coronavirus. I feel very vulnerable. I'm also very anxious and uncomfortable at the prospect that an organisation as big as this would allow junior members of staff to be walking blind. All right, there, send it. And I told her, start taking your life in your hand and stop allowing these managers to be responsible for your life. They're now responsible for your progress. They're responsible for everything. What are you responsible for? It leads me to my own thing. So my contract is ending in a couple of weeks, which I'm quite happy about. In any case, they've been moving mad in relation to this coronavirus. So I made a decision. I said, since they want to move mad, I move madder. One of the senior people there, I said to them, I'll be working from home. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I work from home every Monday. But I'll be working from home because I feel like I'm compromising my life every time I get on public transport, because always somebody sniffing, always someone coughing. And when I come into the office, we have one antagonist here. Chronic cougher, Karen. And I can't handle it. And I don't know whether it's the smoke. I don't know whether it's corona. I don't know if she's a super head, super spreader, whatever they call her, I don't know. And I feel as though I need to take my life in my hands because you guys are not taking the lives of your staff seriously. Within 45 minutes, they had one meeting. Because obviously when I'm telling him this, I'm just saying it verbally. I'm not putting it in writing because I'm a contractor. If I was perm, I would have put it in writing. Within 45 minutes, Toya, sorry, can we have a chat? So we are going to do, we're going to split the workplace. And what's going to happen here is we're going to split into two teams, A and B team. And A team will be 2 weeks off and B team 2 weeks on. And then it will rotate. In my head, I was looking at here. In my head, I was thinking, this man is a big fool. Because I know the team that is off as of now is the team I'm on. Listen, if anybody's got any underlying cough or illnesses, then obviously they have to take priority and go to team A. I say, yeah, I'm team A. He said, oh, you're team A. I say, yeah. Because I had a chest infection some weeks back. So I have to be team A. And I have sickle cell trait and low iron. Oh, yeah. Definitely team A. Yes, I will put myself in the team in which I believe that the response is immediate. What kind of rubbish is this? My dear, I'm working from home. By the time it's time to go back, it's my last week there. So I'm even happy. In fact, if care is not taken and London is on lockdown, I'll be off for the other 3 weeks. What's this thing? Working from home, yes. Listen, for a lot of these organizations, I get it that this pandemic, because that's what it is really, really shaking the fabric of our society and how we respond to such crisis. But it's in a crisis that you see what your company is made of. It's in a crisis that you see. If you're still going to the office, they haven't communicated. They're just saying, oh, we are waiting to see how the government responds. Your workplace don't care about you at all. If your managers are working from home, you're still going to the office and they're still sending updates, but they're telling everybody to calm down while they're calming down in their house, then they don't care about you. It comes a point whereby you have to put your foot down and put your health first. You know, one of my friends, she's told me that she has developed a cough and she's developed her cold feet, and it's an onset of something that she doesn't know. Yes, she said it. I was laughing. But there's a reality here that we expect humanity from workplaces and managers. And in fact, they're not humans themselves. They don't act human. They almost dehumanize junior members of staff and they justify it by having to keep work going and business as usual. But how can business be usual when the infrastructure in which you're working in is responding to this virus in such a way now where other countries are on lockdown? And I genuinely believe it's only a matter of time before London goes on lockdown. And if London doesn't go on lockdown, I will do social distancing and lock myself down in my house, okay? Because I'm not going to allow anybody to compromise my health. Because if I die tomorrow, they'll just find somebody else to replace me. You die tomorrow, they'll mourn you maybe 1 week, yeah? And then they will advertise your role again. So better understand that there comes a point where you have to find a compromise between, yes, being an employee, if that's what you are, compromising on business as usual, and then also putting your health first. You know, they say, oh, you can't work yourself to the bone, health is wealth and all of that. I think it's a myth for a lot of these managers. They will tell you, oh, they take your health first. But it's in situations like this, you see how workplaces see their employees. Sign on how companies react to crisis is fire drills. You know, they're legally obligated to do certain fire drills a year. You know where I'm working, They did one fire drill. The fire escape door they were struggling with for 10 minutes. Actually, they managed to get the fire doors to open. When we managed to then evacuate the building, tell me why they couldn't find a manifesto of all the staff that were inside. They then said it's the responsibility of the fire warden in each team to locate the staff members. Maybe that's the way to do it, but 10 minutes to get the fire door open, and now we have corona. You know, there's a lady in my workplace called Karen, and I have planned to record an episode on the Toya Talks podcast about her. If you follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, then you guys know exactly who Karen is. She is the most... She's a... There's so many words I can use to describe her, but Karen is one of those people. She has tried to do everything to provoke me. You know, you have workplaces like that. She has the tip of her nose is brown because it's always up somebody's bum, and it's usually the manager's ass. She puts her nose up their butts. Yeah, she's the type of person that she will draw for you each and every time. She is a busybody and the office smoker, 40 packs a day. She proudly announces that's what she smokes. This woman has been coughing up and down, up and down, up and down. And when it was announced that they're going to do team A and B, she said, well, I'm quite happy to come in. At the end of the day, people get colds and flus all the time. This is just another one of those things. They're just blowing it out of proportion. Really, Karen? So when you had a 10-minute coughing fit, was that out of proportion? She has forcibly been put in team A. She's off for 2 weeks. But I give you the ultimate story. So I was working from home on a Monday, and we were having a conference call, and a lady, and we'll call her Elaine, was on this conference call, and Elaine had said that she had met with a couple of Italian delegates, And after their meeting, she was then informed that they were put into quarantine with one of them suspected coronavirus. So she was on the call saying this, and then Elaine says, well, I've just popped back into the office to collect my laptop, because obviously when I went to the meeting, I've got my laptop, didn't I? So I've just popped back, and then I will self-isolate. I said, Elaine, so after you've met with these people this morning, you've gone back in the office? She goes, yes, I've gone back in the office. I need to get my laptop. Didn't I, Toya? This is how serious these people are taking it. This is how serious. This is the same Oyobo person that tells me that she didn't grow up around black people and that she finds it really interesting that where she lives at the moment, that is becoming ethnically diverse. This stupid fool, this ignorant, stupid buffoon decided to take herself back into the office. These people are mad. Shall I talk about the sanitizers that have gone missing in every corner of the office? Listen, start taking your health seriously and stop putting your health in the bosom of managers that don't give a shit about you, okay? And I think you get to a point now where you've got to be practical about how you deal with certain things. And if anything, I think coronavirus has really opened up the conversation about hygiene. It cannot be assumed that people wash every single day or sometimes twice a day. Some people don't even wash. They stand under the shower and allow the water to slap them. Yeah? It cannot be assumed that people wash. The same way that last year they were arguing about whether they wash their legs in the shower. I mean, what is this? What are we doing here? You know, you ask them, oh, how do you wash your body? They'll show you the palm of their hand. Never would they use a scrub. Never would they use a sponge. Never would they use a scrunchie. Hygiene is at the foremost of conversation. And then we talk about how workplaces are responding to this. And I get it. It's one of those unprecedented things that no one ever saw coming. Although my conspiracy theory is that the government knew about this back in December. They tried to bury it, and then here we are now with a global pandemic that is fundamentally going to wipe out some people. And it's a scary thought. It's a scary thought that we're sitting here having a conversation knowing full well that Italy have put the entire country on lockdown, as has Denmark. And London, I get it. I understand that they have to be strategic about doing certain things, but there comes a point where you have to make a decision about yourself. And in the same way, I have tried to, discuss and encourage you guys to be more assertive and do it in a professional way. It's important that you're assertive about your health in the workplace. And more importantly, understanding that hygiene, it means different things to different people and how they place hygiene. People are still coughing and not putting a hand over their mouth or in their elbow. People are still touching people's hair. People are still coming close when they're talking to people. I don't want to smell what you had for breakfast. Why are you standing near me? How can I be on the DLR and I'm feeling the man's breath on my neck? I said, excuse me, your breath is on my neck. That means you're too close. Yes, I say it. I open my mouth and be saying. And to all my contractors, 6th of April is when IR35 kicks in. It's a really difficult time for contractors. I've previously, in a previous episode, touched on IR35 and what it means to us. If I've got any contractors listening to the podcast, I want to say that the market is dire. It's not just you. It's not in your head. It will... I think, do you know what? I've consulted a couple of companies on IR35, how to respond to it, how to do the assessments, etc., etc., etc. And so far, I've been right about what I thought would happen as a result of IR35. A lot of companies are blanketing people and therefore putting them in scope inside IR35 when they should be outside, or because they're ill-prepared, underprepared, and haven't thought it through properly. It's just been easier for them to mitigate risk by putting everybody inside IR35. And as a contractor, you know that financially it isn't to our advantage to be inside IR35. It's more advantageous to be outside because of tax relief and etc., etc. We assimilate a lot of risk. We have to have our insurances. We have to hire an accountant. So it's not all plain sailing to be a contractor. There's a lot of risk that we have to assimilate and things that we have to do as part of being a contractor. When you have a specialised skill, or when you have a skill that's in need, it has always worked in our favour to be contractors. I've loved being a contractor and I'm not giving up on it. I definitely think that it's not sustainable to introduce IR35 in the private sector, but until the market stabilises, contractors are going to find it hard to find contract roles outside of IR35, and as a result, the public sector have responded by reducing the rates and obviously putting everybody outside rather than continuing the more pragmatic approach and assessing everybody on a case-by-case basis. What I will say is, I don't think that it makes any sense for a contractor to work inside IR35. You don't have employment rights. You are taxed at source. You might as well find a fixed term contract or a perm contract and allow the industry to settle, or allow the commercial space to settle before they're making a decision that hopefully the market picks up and making a decision to go back and be a contractor again and work outside IR35. I think if it's a thing about money versus employment rights, I'd always say you might as well go perm, like I said, or a fixed term contract and get your employment rights, get your sickness and all your benefits and stuff, because you don't get those things when you are working inside IR35 under an umbrella company. There are a lot of rogue umbrella companies. Please be careful. I've been part of a lot of contractor forums. I've spoken to a lot of contractors. I have a lot of friends who have been contracting for years, and I've had the benefit of their experience and understanding kind of what IR35 means and what it means to us as contractors. I would definitely say don't feel pressured just to take any role. I think what contracting has done for me on a personal level, it's made me, number one, grow quite quickly within my industry. Number two, I have a very, very clear perspective of my career in terms of what I will expect and accept from a role. I've decided to take April off, and I think that the coronavirus is forcing people and contractors to take time off anyway. But I'm taking April off just to focus on my Toya Talk stuff. I've got a lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of things I'm working on. And then I'll make a decision about kind of where I go from here in terms of my contracting and whether I will go perm, fixed term contract, or maybe I'm lucky enough to find a role outside IR35 and can continue to contract. Either way, I keep my business operating, and I'm in close discussion with my accountant about a way forward. But I wanted to quickly touch on it because I've had a lot of contractors reach out to me. I do consultation on an individual basis as well as a company basis as well. So I've consulted a couple of contractors about their individual situations and giving them advice. So I thought that I would use the opportunity to speak on it again here on my podcast. Anyway, guys, listen, this isn't a long one. It's more about making you guys comfortable in having these discussions about hygiene in the workplace. Your workplaces should have always had flipping sanitizer in the bathroom. People should be washing their hands. People shouldn't be picking up their nose and then tapping on the keyboard. I'm not understanding. And I'll call out that mess because I'm not here to be infected by somebody who has poor hygiene and therefore then thinks it's okay to rub it off on everybody else in the office, all in the ignorance of not really understanding that hygiene is not a choice. It should be a way of life. Anyway, guys, remember we have a Toya Talks Live 2.0. It's my live event that's coming on Saturday, the 11th of July, 2020. The tickets go live on March 28th, which is it's 2 weeks time, but by the time this goes up, it'll be 1 week's time. Make sure you get your tickets. It will be an Eventbrite. I've got a countdown on my social media, but it will be live on the 28th, Saturday, the 28th of March at 10 a.m. on Eventbrite. Toya Talks Live 2.0 tickets, and then the event, of course, by the grace of God, on the 11th of July 2020. I'm really, really excited for that Toya Talks. You guys are in for a treat. And if you guys came to the first Toya Talks Live, or somebody that went, it was a fantastic event. It was an opportunity for me to bring what I do on Toya Talks, on the podcast, and everything else that I do on Snapchat to a live stage. There's practical skills that I'm teaching. I will be talking about employment contracts. I will be marking up an employment contract. I'll be dealing with scenarios, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be action-packed, very interactive, and I'm looking forward to delivering that to you all. If you guys are not following me on my social media, come on, do it. Instagram, Toya_Washington, Toya_Talks, Twitter, Toya_W, and of course, you guys can catch me on Snapchat, Toya Washington, all lowercase, all one word. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. My name has been Toya Washington, and you have been listening to the Toya Talks podcast.